Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another interview with Breaking the Chains. And I am Joe Panito, and this is Susan Brown. And we've been wanting to do this one for a while because Susan went through a recent period where there were a lot of challenges to maintain her recovery and a lot of stressors all at one time. So we wanted to talk about that today. So Susan, if you would please share with us some of those things that went on in your life in a very short amount of time and just how you were feeling through all that.
Well, a lot of things happened. My youngest daughter, got married. So her being the youngest, I figured this is the last marriage that my family will experience, hopefully. My mother-in-law passed away. A father of one of my friends passed away after almost 60 years of sobriety. I also got promoted at work, so there were a lot of life changes in a short period of time.
Yeah, so one really positive one.
Right.
Getting promoted, but then also a lot of stressful ones.
Exactly. And I know I had shared in the group, one thing that really surprised me is that when I got promoted, I really wanted to sort of go out and party. It was because social drinkers would have gone out and had a couple drinks, if they get this big promotion with life insurance and paid time off when you've just been, operating in survival mode for a long time. So I posted in the Breaking the Chains group, and so that was one way that I stayed sober. And I picked this room for the interview because I am an aspiring writer, and I get a lot of ideas that come to me suddenly, and so that's why I have this quote, why sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. So I did write a recovery song that I'll share in another episode of Breaking the Chains.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for those of you at home watching this, what we are in is Susan's Alice in Wonderland room, which is really pretty darn cool. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, which is a lot of, like, the chairs were hand painted by Susan, and the pictures, and so it's really a neat place to be. So with everything that was going on, how did you navigate that to stay sober? You mentioned posting and Breaking the Chains, and that's one thing that's so awesome about the group is that everyone supports each other. But what else were you able to do?
Because we have been, Joe and I have been working on a book that is tentatively titled Notes of an At-Leaster, and how it took me a while to get sober because I kept saying, at least I'm not as bad as this one, at least I'm not as bad as that one. But the writing process really made me reflect on how bad things really got. So, as they say, play the tape through, and I had gotten to the point where the obsession was 24/7, and the fact that I was thinking about beer before I even was fully awake. So I just know for a fact that maybe I didn't have the volume of alcohol that other people did, but I certainly had a very oppressive addiction problem. And I had counted that I had at least 4 rock bottoms, but I did post in the group, the Breaking the Chains group, that really every time I ignored my family, every time I called off work, every time I laid on the couch drinking instead of doing anything productive was a rock bottom. So I've really had, 1,000 rock bottoms.
Yeah. And in this particular stretch, when you had the promotion at work, your daughter's wedding, 2 really positive things, and then 2 really very hard things with the 2 losses that you had. And then in addition, a family member who got into a car accident. So you had all this in a short time frame. What was it from a strategy or tactics or tools that you've picked up or through the Breaking the Chains program that helped you maintain that your sobriety, so that you could fight those urges when the stress got too much?
Well, there is an acronym HALT, which is you'll get cravings early in sobriety
Yeah.
if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. So you definitely have to maintain a sleep schedule. I am on some psychiatric medication,
Yeah.
so that really helps me maintain my sleep schedule. I've been cooking in bulk. I enjoy cooking. As far as lonely, I do have an active social life. And, oh, I know the very first song I ever wrote was when I was angry. And I just started writing and it turned into a song.
Yeah.
And, and then I also have a dictionary called Metropolitan Jargon. So
Yeah.
it's like micro publishing. You just have
Yeah.
a small thought and you get it out. And I do have a tracker on that dictionary, so it's made it from Belgium all the way to Hawaii. So once it jumps from Hawaii to Belgium, then it will have circumnavigated the globe. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Where can everybody find that? What's the website?
metropolitanjargon.com.
Okay.
And I do have the search engine optimization on, so it is the second hit when you Google it. So
Very cool.
yeah.
All right, well, go check that out.
And there's a lot of terms that are related to recovery. The word that has the most views and that people seem to find the funniest is Bosnian Mountain Time, and that's about staying out even after the bars close
Yeah.
to end up drinking. So
Sure.
or drugging. It just so
Yeah.
happens my drug of choice was drinking, but obviously a lot of people watching
Sure.
would have different drugs of choice.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what, when we talk about addiction, those are usually the two things that come up are abuse of narcotics, substances, or alcohol. But certainly, Susan and I have talked about this in conversation. There's a lot of other addictions out there that can be addressed in breaking the chains too, whether it's gambling addiction or whatever it may be, shopping addiction. An addiction is an addiction, and these are the two most predominant ones that we work with here. But you made an interesting comment about the social life, because there's a distinct difference between having the right social life and the not right social life with being in recovery.
Right.
Because, and we've talked about this a little bit before, sometimes you have to make those hard choices. You can't associate with the same people or the same places of comfort when you're in recovery. And so replacing that with the right type of social life.
Right.
So.
Well, and I have an incredible amount of fun being sober, and everybody thinks they're going to be missing out when they get sober, and you're only missing out on one thing, and that's drama. And you and I met not through a recovery program. I hired Joe as a life coach, and it was about getting away from drama and going from a victim status to a creator status, because when we met, I didn't open with, I'm an alcoholic in recovery.
No. Nope.
We were talking for a while before that came up, and so the Breaking the Chains program just sort of organically was created as the life coaching supported by sobriety.
Exactly.
So, the goal is really to look forward, and hopefully anybody that would hire a life coach could get into those shopping addictions and the other things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So really important stuff. And it did start out with one piece of what is now the Breaking the Chains program. Susan and I started together with one piece of that in terms of life coaching, and then basically took the pieces a little bit out of order and did a personality assessment, which is really, I've taken it too. The same assessment that our clients get is one that both of us have taken too, and it's really an eye opener when you look at your personality characteristics and figure out how you're wired and why you kind of do the things that you do, and then develop strategies to work on those strengths that you need to improve. those character traits that you need to improve, and back off on some of the ones that are being overused. So,
Well, it was very insightful because instead of calling them weaknesses, they're called lesser strengths. And not surprisingly, two of my lesser strengths are prudence and self-regulation.
sure.
But as I said, this program is about positivity and looking forward. And my character strengths, my strong character strengths are bravery, zest, an appreciation for nature, a love of learning, and so perseverance was a lesser strength. So I've made that as a goal to keep my deadlines. And then since I appreciate beauty, I've made it a goal to actively hike in many different environments.
Yeah, yeah,
And so,
yeah. Well,
then the character strengths help to build positive habits that you can use instead of drinking or drugging.
yeah,
So
absolutely. And what was really impressive about your most recent vacation
oh
was
right.
you and your group. You
Yeah.
call yourselves the
The Explorer Chicks.
Explorer Chicks. Went to Utah.
Yeah,
And-
I hiked the Canyonlands.
Yeah.
So I had to train for that. And you have to get used to living off of protein bars and protein shakes. So it really was a lifestyle change because near the end of my drinking, I literally barely moved off the couch and then just watched reruns. I wasn't even watching anything stimulating. So, so it's a big change in lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. And so, any final thoughts for the audience in terms of tips, strategies, words of wisdom?
Well, okay, one word of wisdom is I know this is something that they say in recovery, but definitely I know I've met a lot of people that have said, well, if only, somebody loved me or I had, a romantic relationship in my life, I would be able to get sober. And AA does recommend being single for a year. And so I did use AA in the beginning, and definitely being single, I feel like is the way to go. Sobriety, your program is a selfish program. You have to put yourself first, and you can't be worrying about what your boyfriend is doing and when he's going to come home and if you have to cook for him because you're busy rebuilding your life. So my final note would be, don't be afraid to be single. So.
Yeah, and that ties back into what you said before in terms of cutting out the drama. So
Right.
That's
So there's
one less thing.
one other word that's in the dictionary is Budweiser widow, because the guy that I had to break up with in order to get sober, I was trying not to drink and he would hang out at the bar, and so I came up with Budweiser widow.
There you
So
go.
because I was too worried about what he was doing to focus on my program.
Right. Okay. So, we enjoyed spending time with you today. We hope you got something out of this. You can go to the Breaking the Chains Recovery Group on Facebook. You'll find it there. You'll also find information on the website Developing Positive Skills for Life. That website is dpsforlife.com. And also, Susan is transitioning into a Sobriety Insights coach and coming at recovery from really being a peer coach for those that are in recovery. My focus is on really being an addiction insights coach, helping you understand the process of addiction as a part of the process and moving out of the addiction as well on your path to recovery. So we enjoyed spending time with you today. We are going to have another interview coming up very shortly, so be on the lookout for that because we are going to be celebrating a special anniversary. So I'm going to leave you with that little nugget. So everyone have a great day, make the most of it, and stay well.